Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We are here breaking down what happened in week 4 of the NFL, and a lot happened, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. G Money Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Tanner. I gotta admit, it's been a long time coming. I've never quite experienced this feeling in my life as a football fan, but it feels good to sit back, kick your feet up, know that you have the best offense in the NFL, probably going to win a lot of games, might even get to the playoffs this year.
You have a good offense. I will admit that. You beat the Bengals. You beat the Cardinals. I like your head coach, too. I like Dan Quinn a lot.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I had no qualms with that. I was a little concerned when we were going for Ben Johnson, and then he decided to stay as a coordinator, and we ended up getting Dan Quinn. It was like, not a PR move necessary, but feels like maybe a culture move. Like you bring him in, build the culture, but don't win games, and then you look for the guy. But it's off to a good start for Dan Quinn.
Yeah, it's off to a good start for Dan Quinn. It's off to a good start for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Grant. Also, just to let you know, because Baker Mayfield. You're talking about Jayden Daniels.
Your guy Baker. It's good for both of us.
Baker's a dog, Grant. Like I'm not putting Jayden Daniels at dog status yet. Baker's a dog. No, you can't say he's a dog after a couple wins. Jayden Daniels is kind of a dog. Baker Mayfield, dog.
I mean, he was unreal against Philly. We'll talk about that. We're just spoiling all of our topics. But yeah, he was really good on Sunday.
We're spoiling all our topics, and it's time to get into those topics. But before we do that, make sure you go to WSN.com, the World Sports Network, the greatest network of all the promo codes, of all the articles, of all the content, the podcast. If you are a sports fan, WSN is where it's at. If you want betting tips and tricks, WSN is where it's at. So make sure you go down in the link in the description below and check it out.
Yeah, 100%. Tanner and I are putting our best betting picks, our best analysis. We got news over there. It's always being updated. So WSN.com, go check it out.
So Grant, as much as we want to talk about our quarterbacks today, I think the biggest topic that we need to start with is the fact that New York Jets fans thought their team was back after beating the Patriots, who cannot move the football to save their life. Like everyone in New York was like, Jets are here. Like this is a Super Bowl caliber team. And then they come back and they lose to the Denver Broncos a week later, who do have a good defense, but that was an embarrassing loss for the New York Jets. So Jets fans, your team is not back. It's not here. It's not here to stay one bit. And you're lucky that the Ravens beat the Bills last night, because the Bills are still probably win that division.
Yeah, I definitely agree on the Bills front there. And also just with the Jets, go back to some of the comments that Aaron Rodgers made last week when he was saying, okay, well, we can't read the headlines. We can't get too high on ourselves just because we're winning some games and building some momentum. Like you said, you were 2-1. You got annihilated by the Niners, who were the only good team you faced. You were getting all high on yourself because you beat the Patriots, who, if I have to remind everybody, at the start of the year had the best odds to have the worst record in the NFL. How'd the Patriots look this week? So the fact that they built their whole case up on that, and honestly, even if they came out and beat the Broncos by 1 point, would it be a little disappointing? Yes, but, like, look at the Chiefs, who they play a horrible game. Mahomes is not playing well. They lose another player to injury, and they still find a way to win by a touchdown. If the Jets had won by 1 point, you'd go, it's ugly, not what we expected, but we're a championship team. We found a way to win. You lost to the Broncos, who, while they were on the road with a rookie quarterback, after the Jets had 10 days of rest. I think that's being lost here. You had a full week and a half to prepare for this game. And when you're 40 years old, like Aaron Rodgers is, you're not going to be at your best every week. But when you have times like these where you get extended rest, this is when you should dial it back and be the MVP. He was not that. The Jets were far from contenders yesterday. And it's games like this that I still think they're going to miss the playoffs.
Bo Nix, 12 of 25 for 60 yards and 1 touchdown. You lost to that. That's bad.
He did not complete a pass beyond the line of scrimmage in the entire first half.
Javonte Williams, 16 carries, 77 yards, did average almost 4.8 yards per carry there. So that's impressive game for him. But when you get beat by a team that has a quarterback that's 12 of 25 for 60 yards, 1 touchdown, when you have Aaron Rodgers on your side, and I think we're all perceiving Aaron Rodgers as this like unmovable object, like one of the GOATs, and he is, but not at this age. Aaron Rodgers is not going to go out and win you football games right here, right now, especially in the rain yesterday. When he took that sack at the end of the game, when they went for it on fourth down, the game was basically over at that point too. But it kind of showed me that like Aaron Rodgers, nothing he can do. It came from his blind side, but it showed me that Aaron Rodgers is not that guy.
No, not at this stage of his career. And in his defense, he shouldn't be. I mean, 40 years old, coming off of a torn Achilles. I understand he won the MVP 2-3 years ago, but if you look at his last full year he played in Green Bay, he wasn't good. He was 26th in QBR. And then again, you go to a new team, they have a bad head coach, they have a bad front office, they have a bad offensive coordinator, most devastating injury an athlete can suffer, 40 years old. He shouldn't be good. So the fact that the Jets have just been so starved for success that when they got any sort of notoriety, they wanted to latch onto it. And Aaron Rodgers was sitting courtside at Madison Square Garden, and then he was going to the hockey games, and he was showing face. I understand the need or the desire to be good, but Aaron Rodgers is not going to get you there.
No, he's not going to get you there. And Jets fans, you need to calm down. I know it's been a long time of just getting beaten into the ground in this division, but you can't beat the Patriots and expect to be back. And how everyone reacted when they beat the Patriots, as well as they played, it was very scary to see because the Patriots are not a good football team.
Yeah, and when you building off of that, looking at the reactions of the players and the media, the coach, whatever, look at how you respond to certain wins and certain losses. If you get all high on yourself because you beat teams you were supposed to beat, that's a sign that you are not a serious team.
Yeah, 100%, Grant. So
wait, before we move on actually here, because we were talking about Bo Nix, I got a stat here, and I want you to let me know if it's something, if it's nothing, what you think the outlook is. So the worst completion percentages on throws 10 or more yards downfield amongst rookies in the first month of their career. Third place, third from bottom, Deshaun Kaiser, 31%. Bo Nix, 27%. Blaine Gabbert, 24%. Those are the three worst since they started tracking this information in 2006.
Yeah. No, he hasn't been good.
Something, nothing. Can he still be successful?
Yeah, he can still be successful. I mean, the bottom line, it comes down to winning football games, and he is 2-2 right now. He found a way to put a drive together when he had to yesterday, no matter if he was throwing it behind the line of scrimmage or handing it off or what. But it's early in these guys' career. Not everyone can be Jayden Daniels right now. And even Caleb Williams. Did you see the celebration yesterday? The jump?
I knew you were going to want to talk about that.
What was that? Like,
so someone said it was called a hip hip hooray.
Like, what are you doing? Did he even have a good game? I didn't watch that one.
It wasn't great. He played a clean game. He didn't turn the ball over. He completed a decent amount of his passes. I think it was probably the best game he's played. Maybe you can say you saw more last week because he threw it a million times. So I think this was his best game.
17 of 23, 157, and a hip hip hooray for Caleb Williams. Are we ready to move into the next topic, Grant, the show?
Yeah, go for it.
So next topic, I mean, we should probably talk about Eagles, Bucs, Commanders. So let's get all that. Let's get our fun stuff out right now because we're very excited. Baker Mayfield is a dog. And CJ Gardner-Johnson, like, did you see that video in the locker room of him coming out to the field? Like, we're going to put belt to that ass. Did you see him say that? And They were down 24-0, like, right away. I didn't expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to come out and play as well as they did yesterday. I believe they would win the game because no Devontae Smith, no A.J. Brown, no Lane Johnson. But that really didn't make a difference because the Bucs offense just beat the Philly defense into the ground. Like, they would have won that game no matter if A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were playing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Philly had that chance in the second half to get back into the game. They were down, I think, 16, but that's still a 2-possession game. They're driving down the field. They get it to like the Bucs 35 or so, and then Jalen fumbles, and it's pretty much game over from there. But yeah, the Eagles' offense wasn't great. Don't get me wrong. Jalen, we still do have to have some conversations about him, but this loss is not on him and it's not on the offense. It's absolutely on the defense. They had no answers for Tampa Bay. Bucky Irving, who was my dark horse, again, going back to WSN.com, my dark horse rookie of the year for the offense was Bucky Irving, and he's really starting to come on. He had a very good game. Baker is close to 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's doing his thing, and Philly had no response. And this is the really concerning part, because if you go back to the Eagles Super Bowl run, yes, they could score the ball like with the best of them in the league, but they also gave up the fewest passing yards per game. They basically came close to setting the NFL sack record. You couldn't run on them. Now you can do anything you want. You can throw it. You can run it. Aside from the Saints in that one game, you can attack the middle of the field. You can go outside. It doesn't matter. Everything is vulnerable over there.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's not been very good for the Eagles right now. And I think the defense is a problem. It's been a problem since last season, but Jalen Hurts is also a problem too. The amount of turnovers that he has, it's scary. You can't win like that. And I think the dynamic between Sirianni and between Jalen Hurts, like Sirianni is there this season. He's done. No matter if they win games or not, he does not vibe with this team. And it's crazy that they were able to go to the Super Bowl and look so good, because I'm starting to figure like Jalen Hurts reminds me, and this might be a little harsh, but he reminds me of DJ Uyunglele. They have the same vibe. The same exact vibe.
In what sense?
I think people think they're better than they actually are.
Okay, I don't think anybody thinks DJ's good anymore. I think they did at one point.
DJ was good at one point, and Jalen Hurts is on that trajectory now. We go from the Super Bowl, and we're going down to where he is now, and he's on this.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah, Jalen's on the decline. Don't get me wrong there. He, compared to his contemporaries, Jalen is still far ahead of DJ.
But look what DJU did at Florida State.
What did he do? He's there right now. He hasn't been good.
No, at Clemson. I mean, look what he did at Clemson. He was good at Clemson.
Well, they shipped him out. They said, "Get lost." We got Cade Klubnik.
Well, what did he do at Clemson?
He had one. Was it Notre Dame? I think he had a good game against Notre Dame, and it might have been like his first career start ever. And then he was just kind of mid after that, and they sent him off to Oregon State, and now he's at FSU.
So DJU, let's see, game log 2020. 2020, he was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, he didn't start in 2020. 2021, he went 10-9 and 3 as a starter. 2022,
that's pretty much baseline for Clemson.
Then he went 10-2 as a starter and won the ACC championship game. Like he had good years there. So you kind of have that same thing with Jalen Hurts. It might not be as drastic, but they remind me of the same type of player. Like, I don't want Jalen Hurts to have the ball with the game on the line. He's going to fumble it.
I mean, at one point I did, but I can't argue with you now.
Yeah, he's not a dog. Like, I thought Jalen Hurts was a dog, and he's not. And maybe it's Sirianni, and maybe it's just the entire coaching staff, and he doesn't get along with Sirianni. He doesn't vibe with him. But the amount of carelessness with the football is mind-blowing with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and this is the concerning part. I mean, the defense is still the biggest concern, because – we can say whatever we want about Jalen. Nobody is saying Jalen is not still a top half quarterback. At worst, like, you would put him at 16, and that puts him in the top half. And I would still probably put him in the top 10, right around there. But this is what's scary is, despite that, I mean, he had the one phenomenal year where they get to the Super Bowl. If you go back to his college days at Bama, and then, the rest of, we'll take out the first year with Philly, but every year since then, it's not been great. He was awesome the year he almost won the Heisman, awesome the year they made the Super Bowl. Everything else has just been good or a little bit behind that. So it's starting to seem like the outlier years are the phenomenal years.
Yeah, so that's my biggest concern with Jalen Hurts. And don't get me wrong, you can win with Jalen Hurts, but 4 touchdowns, 4 picks, and how many fumbles? I don't have the fumble stat in front of me. It's pretty bad, though.
I can tell you he has fumbled twice, lost 1.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all.
I mean, anytime your quarterback has more turnovers than touchdowns, you've got a problem.
You're not going to win. So it's on the offense, it's on the defense. And the Bucs are good, don't get me wrong. The Bucs are not as good as they looked yesterday. The offense was clicking, firing on all cylinders. Baker looked great, and Baker's great as a dog. We know that when he's an underdog, you want to bet on Baker Mayfield as a favorite, not as good. But he was fantastic yesterday. So the Bucs, I think they could be in the mix in the NFC. If the Lions are the favorite and the 49ers, like, so be it. You might not beat the 49ers, but you can beat the Lions. You can go to Detroit and beat them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I'm looking at odds right now on FanDuel. The 49ers are the favorites at plus 390. You got the Lions and the Eagles, who again, the Bucs just embarrassed, both at plus 600. You've got to go a long way to find the Bucs. It goes 49ers, Lions, Eagles, Vikings, Seahawks, Cowboys, Packers, Falcons, and then you get the Buccaneers.
No respect. But you know what? The Bucs are officially second in the NFC South right now behind the Falcons. So it's Falcons plus 165, Bucs plus 195. And then if the Bucs do beat the Falcons on Thursday night, they're going to be the new favorite in the division. So at one point they were 3-1, which is crazy.
If I'm making my power rankings right now, I've probably got the Bucs probably fourth. I think fourth in the NFC.
I don't know where I stack them in the NFC, but I do stack them number one in the NFC South. I don't know what all this Falcons hype's all about.
Yeah, I don't either, because they beat the Saints. By the way, awesome ending to that game. If you didn't see it, Younghoe Koo makes, I think it was a 58-yarder. His time expires career long. But neither one of those teams, the Saints, Falcons, I think they're just kind of they're the definition of mid, maybe a little bit better. I know the Saints had an awesome start to the year. You're going to see outliers, both good and bad. You know, the bad outlier was the Bengals losing to the Patriots as 10-point favorites. The good outlier was the Saints scoring 49 points, whatever it was. Things are going to start to meet where they should in the middle. And as the season goes on, I think you're going to see the Saints and the Falcons really just hang around that median mark.
Yeah. I mean, I trust Baker Mayfield because Baker's a dog, but
he's the best quarterback in the division, no doubt.
No doubt about it. Grant, tell me about Jayden Daniels. Let you have your fun now.
But so I actually want to make this a Caleb Williams discussion as well, because at the start of the year, what were we saying with Caleb compared to Drake May and Jayden Daniels? It was Caleb is stepping into maybe the best situation a rookie quarterback has ever had. You know, DJ Moore and Keenan Allen have a ton of Pro Bowls between them, but that's not enough. So we're going to take a top 10 pick and we're going to go get Rome Odunze, and we're going to go out and sign DeAndre Swift and Cole Kmet. And our defense, once we got Montez Sweat, the last 2 months of the season, they were top 3 in points allowed. We thought that about Caleb Williams, and we looked at Jayden Daniels. I mean, Olamide Zaccheaus was the leading receiver in the game against the Cardinals for them. Their offensive line is Nick Allegretti and Cornelius Lucas and Tyler Biadasz. These teams should not stack up, and when you evaluate it, it turns into the favor of the Commanders. Yet that is exactly what happens, or what has happened. And that is a result of Jayden Daniels not only elevating himself, but what do you hear about great quarterbacks? Elevating the rest of their team. And that's what he's done.
No, Jayden Daniels has just been fantastic. He's been super fun to watch as well. 897 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 73rd, 73 quarterback rating, which is 4th in the NFL. I'm very surprised that he hasn't gotten injured yet. Like I thought he was going to come in, take some hits, especially how they used him in the first couple of games, like running QB power all the time. Like, what were they doing with him? Seems like they're learning. Cliff Kingsbury, too. You got to give him a ton of credit for the development this early in Jayden Daniels' career. And then also the game that he called against the Cardinals yesterday. It was a little revenge factor for him, too. But Cliff Kingsbury's been really good as an OC, and I think he's looking like a future head coach in the next couple seasons.
He is. And if that's the path that he goes down and he gets those opportunities and he wants it, then by all means take it. From what we saw, I mean, he hasn't proven to be the best head coach, but again, it's possible he's learned from it and improved. And if not, there's still some guys that are just outstanding coordinators and maybe not the best head coaches. Like, the part of the reason the Chiefs dynasty has been so great is that Steve Spagnuolo, we've seen him as a head coach. Nobody's going to hire him to be the head coach, but he is a great defensive coordinator. And so the Chiefs know they have consistency there. He knows his players in and out, and he's able to build the best scheme for them. So whether Cliff Kingsbury just wants to be an OC for the rest of his career, I think he could be highly successful doing that. If he wants to roll the dice as a head coach, then go for it. But yeah, I'm with you. Cliff has been awesome. Kingsbury's been awesome. The Commanders ran for more than 200 yards on Sunday. That's something that you don't associate with him with the air raid offense. And then also with the air raid, bombs down the field. Jayden Daniels, I think, is he's 3rd or 4th in yards per attempt. He also set an NFL record. No quarterback, not rookie, no quarterback in the history of the league has completed 82% of their passes in a 4-game stretch. This is a rookie that is doing this. And I understand it's not been great defenses. It's been the Buccaneers, the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Bengals. It's going to get harder. But still, you look at what Caleb Williams is doing, you look at what Bo Nix, even CJ Stroud last year, and we know how amazing he was. He started 0-2, and he wasn't great at the start of the year. It took him a while to get going. So this is what probably going to end up being the best rookie quarterback season we've ever seen.
Yeah, 100%. And another guy I think that's going to be in the rookie of the year mix now is going to be Xavier Worthy very, very quickly, just because of what happened to the Chiefs yesterday. Rashee Rice is officially out with an ACL. It's crazy too. And I know it's bang bang plays, but Patrick Mahomes did not need to go shoulder first into whoever he was trying to tackle's knee, because it took out Rashee Rice. So it kind of stupid play from him, especially on the sideline, not in the open field. You don't need to go make a tackle. You got buddies there to help you out.
And it was kind of a half-assed tackle too, which I understand because quarterbacks aren't supposed to go make the hits. A lot of coaches will tell your quarterback, you throw a pick, do not try to tackle the guy. That's how you end up getting injured. But Mahomes, it wasn't even really a tackle attempt. He kind of just threw his body at him and he turned backwards. So his back was going first into it. And that's how he plowed into Rashee Rice. I like the Xavier Worthy pick though. Matter of fact, I'm going to go look up what his odds are, because he's going to get a bigger role in this offense.
And also, Grant, we were saying Travis Kelce might be washed. I think yesterday was the coming out party for him. 7 for 89. Just got to finds the end zone. People are talking about him a little differently today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and the thing is, though, that was an average game. You might even call that a bad game for Travis like 2 years ago. So yeah, it's all about standards. And Travis Kelce's 34 years old. Things are going to start to slow down.
Oh, yeah, it's no surprise there. They should start to slow down. But the Chiefs, I think, will still be fine despite all the injuries that they have suffered, because they're the Chiefs and because they have Patrick Mahomes. And they just find ways to win. I mean, there was no reason the Chargers should have lost this game yesterday. They had a 10-0 lead at home. Chiefs battled back, weren't playing their best on offense. You lose Rashee Rice, but you find ways to put drives together and make some stops and win games. And also too, I'm just very surprised that the Chargers, I'm not surprised by it with Jim Harbaugh, but like Justin Herbert is being used as the most game manager of game managers. And I don't get that one bit. The dude's got a rocket arm. Let him sling it a little bit. You might win that football game if you do.
Yeah, I agree. And right now, I guess you could say it's due to the ankle, but before the ankle, they were still forcing him to play like this. And if Harbaugh is going to have his system, which is run the ball, control the clock, play defense, I get all of that. That's fine, but you can still mix in your deep shots. You don't have to go underneath with everything. You can, hit the intermediate game, hit the deep passing game, and Herbert has the arm to do that. They just aren't letting him cut it loose. Xavier Worthy, by the way, he is sixth. He's fifth, I'm sorry, in offensive rookie of the year odds. The best odds you will find are at ESPN Bet, and they are for plus 3,000.
Wow. Plus 3,000.
Jayden Daniels also, by the way, down to minus 130.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for anyone to beat Jayden Daniels because of what he's doing. And he's a quarterback too. If a quarterback plays well, they're going to beat a receiver who plays well, 9 times out of 10, because the quarterback's touching the ball on every single play. But Xavier Worthy now could be a good value bet, just looking at where the Chiefs are at from a receiving perspective. He's going to have to take a much bigger role in this offense. He's going to have to take on that Rashee Rice role, and it's going to result in more yards, no matter if they're great yards, great performances, but he's going to get the ball thrown to him a lot more.
And absolutely do not wish this on him. But our biggest concern, we've said it enough by now, Jayden Daniels gets injured. I mean, he's still a 180-pound quarterback, 185, running around, making plays. He takes one shot, he could be out for a month or two, and that's going to completely change the odds there.
Because he's still not reckless with how he's running, but he's not sliding by any means. Like he had another. He's
kind of learned the baseball slide, which is something, I guess, but. No, you're right. He's very elusive. And even if he doesn't slide, he can usually avoid the hits. It's just he's so skinny. If you get him one time, that's all it takes.
He's just got to run like Lamar. Like Lamar does an excellent job of not sliding all the time, sliding a little bit, getting out of bounds, protecting his body. He's so elusive, he'll just fall to the ground half the time, and he doesn't really take a lot of shots considering he's not that big of a dude.
By the way, what Lamar and the Ravens are doing here, it's actually crazy, because Derrick Henry, I believe, is up to first in the league in rushing yards now, and Lamar is ninth. So they've got 2 guys in the top 9 in rushing yards on their team. And for Lamar to be, however far he is into his career, probably 6-7 years or so, for him to still be running this much and be this speedy after taking the hits, it's pretty insane that he's still able to be that effective.
I'm very shocked how that game went last night. Not very shocked. When I sit back and look at it, I can say, wow, this made sense for the Ravens. I'm shocked the Bills couldn't get a single stop on defense all night. they're going to have bad games. It's the NFL. Every team has a bad game, and you're facing a really good team on the road. But the fact that the Ravens looked as good as they did on offense was a little surprising, considering the Bills just have been pretty good on defense too. So it just shows that the lack of competition for Buffalo might be a concern if you think they're going to go far in the AFC and then ultimately potentially make it to the Super Bowl.
What was, I think, most, I don't know if concerning is the right word, but at the same time, it might be. What was so surprising to me is the Bills lost 35-10, and Josh Allen didn't throw an interception. And he only turned it over one time, which was a fumble. And I'm not even necessarily going to put that on him. It was kind of a trick play that really had no hope from the start. He gets cornered by the sideline. He's got like 4 dudes flying at him. I'm all for blaming Josh Allen for his turnovers. I was one of his biggest critics over the last couple of years. Can't really put that on him. So the fact he played a clean game and you lose 35-10 after you started 3-0, and it's not like you didn't have motivation. You're going on the road as an underdog. This could be, there was all this offseason chatter about how you fell off. You get off to a 3-game win streak. This could have been a time you go out there and prove yourselves. And once again, the Bills just fall flat in a primetime spot.
I think it's actually a positive that he didn't turn the ball over, even though you lost 35-10, because it shows he's making better decisions with the football. There were moments where he could force it down the field, and it might actually help last night, but he was making good decisions with the ball. And in Josh Allen in the past, if he's turned the ball over 3 times, I think you feel worse about the 35-10 loss than you do about him not turning the ball over, because they never had a chance from the beginning. The Ravens scored on every single drive. The Bills went 3 and out consistently. They didn't really move the ball much, and that's why they lost the game. So sitting back, you can say Josh Allen's grown a lot as a quarterback by not turning it over.
That's fair. That's a good assessment on it. This game felt a lot like the Georgia-Bama game to me. And I mean, Georgia obviously made much more of a comeback, but it was just, there was nothing. It was so clear from the opening couple of minutes. There was nothing that the Georgia/Buffalo defense could do to stop the other team. And then they just put themselves hopelessly behind, and the game was kind of over by halftime.
But you also felt too, like I felt there were moments, and the same thing in Georgia-Bama. If Georgia catches that ball, the deep shot early in the game, it's a different game. Like a few plays go Buffalo's way, they could score a little bit. It just didn't happen last night. This felt to me like Bucs, Eagles. Like the Bengals, or not the Bengals, the Bills just never had a chance. Same thing with the Eagles. It was over from the first couple drives.
So I know we're getting towards the end of the show here, but looking around the league, do we have any clue just what to think of conference futures, Super Bowl futures? Like everyone's going to say the Chiefs, but are they going to be able to withstand these injuries? And the division leaders, the Texans, they're 3-1, but they honestly have not looked great. The Steelers are leading. I don't think anybody believes in them. Are the Vikings going to continue to be 4-0?
I would say that when you're looking at the conferences right now, the AFC is Buffalo and Baltimore. Those two. The Bengals are done. Andy Dalton should have had 10 touchdown passes of 80 yards yesterday. They didn't play good on defense. I'm amazed that the Bengals found a way to win that football game. Credit to the offense. They look great. Joe Burrow looks great. Defense doesn't look good. Miami's done. Houston potentially, but I think it's Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City, top 3. And I would probably lean Baltimore if you think that Lamar can win a game against Patrick Mahomes, which I don't know if he can or not. And then
this would be the year. If there's going to be a year, it should be this one.
This would be the year. Yeah. So I would say Baltimore for AFC Super Bowl. And also it's that 12-year thing. Like they win every 12 years. This would be the 12th year. So you never know. NFC, you got to say the Niners, I guess, or the Lions. It's not the Eagles at +600. It's not the Vikings at +700.
I think I might actually move the Bucs to 3rd. I think I would go Niners, Lions, Bucs.
Don't be surprised if the Bucs are in the NFC Championship game. Just don't be surprised. If they get the right draw and they're not on the side of the bracket or they're not going to have to play the 49ers, if they can play the Lions, they can win that game. So don't be surprised. I'm not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think they have the team to go to the Super Bowl, but they're a few pieces away from being a really legitimate contender moving forward.
And last year they beat the Eagles in the wild card, and then they're 1 touchdown away from beating the Lions and going to the championship game. And they already beat the Lions this year.
Yeah. So, and that was a game where Detroit played really bad. And if Detroit played a little better, they probably win the game by 10 points. But still they find ways to win. So you were looking at the Chiefs, the 49ers as the favorites, probably getting back. Buffalo or Baltimore potentially. I lean Baltimore in the AFC, and then really Detroit, Tampa Bay, or Minnesota. Like Dallas doesn't strike me as a legitimate contender. Nobody does right now.
I'm still feeling really good about my pick of one NFC East team makes the playoffs. And it might be the Commanders, apparently. That's not the team I thought it was going to be, but
it probably won, I would say. I think you're probably going to get 2 out of the NFC South. I think you'll get the division winner and a wild card from there because the division is so weak. So I think that's a fair play by you, Grant.
Yeah, you get 2. I mean, you could maybe get 3 out of the North.
You could. Well, Minnesota looks good if they keep this pace. Detroit's going to get in. Then you got Green Bay.
Green Bay and Chicago are both 2-2. Like that's in position. I don't think it'll be Chicago, but I'm just saying they're both 2-2. That's through 4 weeks of the season. If you're 2-2, you're still alive for the playoffs.
Where did the Super Bowl odds right now for the Jets? How far did they drop? They tanked. They're 21-1. I think they were 11-1 last week.
And I want to say, I wonder where Rodgers. I do have the MVP odds up. Aaron Rodgers was in the top 5 last week, which we talked about, which was insane. He's now 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He's now like 13th or 14th. He's behind Jayden Daniels now in MVP odds.
Sam Darnold's your comeback player of the year now.
Sam Darnold's comeback player of the year. For me personally, Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield and Lamar are my top 3 MVP candidates.
Baker's not even in the MVP till 28-1.
I know that's crazy.
So much disrespect. So much disrespect for the Bucs. I don't know why. There's so much, but there is.
A lot of it is projection, though, and people just don't believe in Baker.
He's a dog, though. Like, I don't know how people can't see that Baker is that guy.
He's probably had the 2. I was going to say maybe he's had the 2 best games. I don't know. Josh Allen was great. Lamar was great. He's probably got 2 of the top 5 games so far for quarterbacks. Week 1 against Washington, and then this game he just played.
I mean, he's 13th in QBR, but he's 4th in passing yards, 2nd in touchdowns with 8, and he's thrown 2 picks. He's a dog.
Yeah, I'm listen, you converted me. I'm a Baker guy now.
It's hard not to. If you're not a Baker guy, you don't love sports if you're not a Baker guy. If you hate Baker Mayfield.
Before we get out of here, what did you make of Tom Brady calling out Baker on live air?
He was ready to like cry. He was so angry about that. That was because I saw that one live. Like I didn't see it on Twitter. I watched it live and I'm like, oh, that's going to be a big moment. And it was, Baker basically said I was brought here to like have some fun. And Brady was like, if I want to have fun, I'll go with my kids to Disneyland. I don't think he ripped Baker as much as like, I think he ripped just the culture and mindset of today's NFL more than Baker.
But this is the thing, though, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Baker does seem like a guy who wants to have fun, but I also don't look at Baker as being someone who is unserious, which I think is kind of what Brady was trying to address.
I look at Baker as one of the most competitive people in the NFL, but I look at him as he's a guy I want to hang out with, too, or Tom Brady's probably not a guy you want to hang out with. Like they said it. There was a quote, I forget who it was from, but Tom was a celebrity. Baker's a dude. I can hang with Baker, but Tom was a celebrity, and Baker's just one of the boys.
I'm starting to not like Tom. I gotta say it. Between the Netflix roast, the commercials, and his broadcasting, he seems to be up his own ass a lot. And I don't know if he's playing a character.
I don't think he is.
It's gone on so much. It's gone on so long that I think that's just who he is.
I think he's a perfectionist. You have to be a perfectionist to do what he's done in his NFL career. So today's NFL, and I don't get me wrong. I mean, everyone loves Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, but Baker is he's like the frat boy version.
He is, and he's starting to play like him.
He's playing he's a dog. Baker's
last thing, and I promise I didn't mean for this to be a Jayden thing, but you said Brady, and it made me think. Did you know the Commanders currently have the highest EPA per play since 2000, except for the 2007 Patriots?
I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised.
It's kind of wild. But this is a weird NFL season. Underdogs of 5.5 points or more, I believe, are they're like 17-4 against the spread or something ridiculous.
Yeah. No, it's been crazy. But you know what? That's what we get with the NFL.
And
Script writers do a good job.
it's what we're going to be covering at WSN.com throughout the entire NFL season.
WSN.com. Make sure you guys go check out WSN.com. Link in the description below. Everything you need to know for NFL and playoff baseball and basketball and hockey. Everything is on there, guys. Check it out. Grant, take us out of here.
Guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line. Tanner and I hope that you all enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Jump in the comments. Let us know who's going to win on Monday Night Football. We will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.